We're still on Roki Sasaki watch. Is there any update? A little one. And also, I'm going to try to predict the Dodgers' 26-man opening day roster for 2025. Do they need Kiké and Chris Taylor on the same team? All that more coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, Ronnie, the parade. We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series.
Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock. Mookie Magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, presented by dodgersnation.com, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain, credential member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Now, if you haven't yet, do us a huge favor, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Also, drop some comments down below. We are still in Roki watch mode. Do you think he's going to the Dodgers? What is the percentage chance that you think that he'll end up in LA? Of course, every episode, we start with the Dodgers Nation poll question of the show. I asked you guys over on the X, and we're going to talk about this a little later in the show. Do the Dodgers need Kiké Hernández and Chris Taylor on the 2025 roster? Should they have both those guys on the 2025 roster? Remember, you got Ha-Seong Kim, you have Tommy Edman, you have Miguel Rojas, you got Kiké Hernández who wants to be back. You know, I call him the Derek Fisher of the Dodgers. They need him back in LA. Well, right now, 58% of Dodgers fans say yes, they should have Kiké and Chris Taylor back in 2025, and 42% say no. So drop your comments down below on that topic, and we'll hit that in a bit as well. Of course, as always, we've got super producer Antonio, Tony Taters, rock with us. He's looking for your comments of the show. He's looking for your questions for the 7th inning stretch. Anything you got about your boys in blue, drop those questions down below, and we're going to answer them during the 7th inning stretch. That's also, we're going to give out the comment of the show. So keep dropping those. We got Noel Sanchez, the social media superstar, runs Dodgers Nation's social media channels. Noise by Noel. He's rock with you guys. Noel, I mean, what's the mood on social media about Roki Sasaki? Because I feel like it is the scene from Caddyshack. Yeah. Well, we're waiting. It's just, it hasn't changed. Got some updates, but what's the mood like?
I think a lot of Dodger fans are cautiously confident that we are going to be able to sign Roki Sasaki. I think you've been a big part of that, DMAC. You're letting everybody know all of the pros and cons that come with being with the Dodgers. Obviously, he'll be able to be behind a rotation that is very experienced, that will put him in position to win for a long time. But in a San Diego, in a Blue Jays organization, he'll be more of the face. So I think everybody's looking at it like the Dodgers have everything in line for him to succeed. It's really going to be up to him if he wants to step in day one and be a guy, or kind of be brought along in a more safer way with the Dodgers. But I think everybody is excited for him to make this decision, and we're going to know by next week.
Yeah, and I think what makes this one really interesting, I mean, the Dodgers have been involved in free agency battles with players throughout the years, but this one really comes down to what presumably is two teams in the National League West, and the Padres and the Dodgers. So if the Dodgers do get him, it's okay, you get this potentially elite pitcher, and then the Padres kind of suffer once again. I see people out there kind of, oh, so much talk about Roki Sasaki, spending a lot of time on Roki Sasaki. Yeah, because this truly is a once in a long, long time situation, because you are getting, like I said, a pitcher that because of his age, because he's still considered an amateur, because he doesn't have 6 years of service time, because he is 23 years old, you get someone that could sign for $200 million at least, possibly even, he could get the Yoshinobu Yamamoto contract, right? $325 million. That is how far the bidding would be for $10 million. You are getting potentially a mansion in Beverly Hills for the price of a house in Palmdale, right? I mean, this is something we haven't seen. Lamborghini for the Nissan Altima price, right? This is something that we have not seen, and I do think that if they ultimately get Roki Sasaki, this will be the most satisfying signing since Shohei Ohtani. Because, like I said yesterday, you would be getting him not because, oh, the Dodgers buy all their players. The Dodgers can flex their financial muscle. They print money. It's the big bad Dodgers throwing money at all these free agents, getting these guys. No, they would have gotten him because of the culture that they built, the foundation here, history with Japanese players, current Japanese players on the roster, superstars like Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, a manager that is half Japanese, was born in Japan. All these factors are coming into play. And the bottom line, I mean, just talking to guys this offseason, the Blake Tryons of the world, hearing Blake Snell at his press conference, talking to Teoscar Hernandez. These guys all want to get paid. They all want generational wealth. They all want to be taken care of. They want their fair market value. But all these guys also want to win. And I think that people lose sight of that. And that is something that certainly the Dodgers bring in a big way. But you're here to know what is the latest on Roki Sasaki. And that is where we're going to start here on the leadoff.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
Still the hottest story in Dodger baseball. It is still F5 season. Probably going to get those F5 keys replaced. Your screen time on your phones is probably going to be very high. I wouldn't even look at it at the end of the week. It's going to be a lot of hours because you're waiting for that pass and bomb. You're waiting to see if the Dodgers did land Roki Sasaki. And right now, the latest comes from Mark Feinsand of MLB.com, who wrote a piece about all the latest developments as it relates to Roki, and he tweeted out, according to sources, both the Dodgers and Padres have been calling teams with regard to trading for international bonus pool money with the hopes of bulking up the amount they can offer for Roki Sasaki. And really, that has been a rumor that's been circulating the last couple of days, is the Dodgers, they're right at the low end, right? You got $5.1 million around that. That's the max you can spend. They have not been active in spending in the international market. You've held off on guys. You've let these international free agents know that you want to push them back. You already didn't get Darrell Morel, who ended up going to the Pirates, an infielder. A Patino also went to another team. They have made it very clear that the expectation and the hope and the optimism is that they signed Roki Sasaki. Now, the other option they have is, as far as this, is going out there and potentially adding more money. And what we know is that if you want to try to add more money, you can get 60%, up to 60% of your current pool that you have. And the Dodgers are at $5.1 million. You could get up to a little over $8 million if you were to trade away assets. Now, there have been rumors about guys like Josue DePaula and other top-level prospects. And DePaula, he is someone that has really risen on the MLB pipeline, on the Dodgers prospects list. He's the second highest-ranked Dodgers prospect right now. You've had people compare him to Juan Soto as far as his hit tool and his ability to hit. And I see Dodgers fans out there saying, wait. You don't trade Josue DePaula to get more international signing bonus pool money for Roki Sasaki. We got to hold on to our prospects. We got to hold on to DePaula because of the potential that he has. I see that out there. You guys know the mentality on this show. Parades over prospects, especially when you are in win now mode. I love DePaula. DePaula could go on to be an all-star player. Roki Sasaki could go on to win multiple Cy Youngs and be a surefire ace. Like I said, I've called him the Dodgers' Paul Skeens. I think he has the potential to be just that. So, look, I don't think that anyone, if there's any prospect in the Dodgers organization to where, yes, teams out there are probably going to be trying to take advantage of the Dodgers because they know the situation that they're in and the leverage that they might have, because they want to get better prospects and take advantage of that situation. They know that. But if anything can help get you Roki Sasaki, and if that means trading away top prospects, I'll pack their bags for them and drive them to the airport if it means getting Roki Sasaki. That's how good this guy is. Let's not lose sight of the fact that prospects are suspects. They're lottery tickets. Prospects are guys that oh, on the Dodgers, this guy got injured on the big league club, so let's call him up and give him his opportunity. Oh, Andy Paz comes up, has a hot start, and then struggles. James Outman comes up, hits 23 home runs, finishes third in the Rookie of the Year voting, and then the following season doesn't play very much. Gavin Lux, former top prospect, number one, not just in the Dodgers organization, but in all of baseball, had his ups and downs, contributed this season. We'll never forget the sack fly that he had in Game 5 of the World Series against the Yankees. All that great stuff. But all those guys, the process was make your debut, see if you can hold on, see if you're a guy. Roki Sasaki is big league ready now. That's how good he is. He's a prospect only by definition, right? The truth of the matter is we saw him compete in the WBC. We know the 102-mile-per-hour fastball exists with a nightmare splitty that drops 35 plus inches. We know that he also has the ability to grow too. And that, as Joel Wolf told us in Dallas at the winter meetings, is he's not a finished product. For me, some people might look at that as, oh, I wish he was more a finished product. Me, I'm like, wait a minute. A guy who's not a finished product that goes with the Dodgers, he hasn't probably gotten close to reaching his potential. So I just want to put that out there. I don't care. I love all these prospects like you guys do too, and I want them to succeed in this organization. But the Dodgers don't have to rely on their prospects to acquire their stars, right? Sign guys in free agency. You can trade guys and extend guys. And that's how most of this roster has been built. The top level guys. Yes, Will Smith is still behind the dish. You signed him to an extension. Walker Buehler played a massive part in winning the World Series last season. I'm not saying you don't need to have a healthy farm system to have sustainable winning, but all bets are off to me as far as keeping those guys when it comes to having that player in Roki Sasaki in Dodger blue. And that's something that this team has discussed among themselves is how do we get more bonus pool money, and can we get it through the trade market? So we know the Dodgers have considered that, and that tells me that they're trying to make it clear to Roki Sasaki that it's not just about the money, because we know from an endorsement standpoint, he'll make more with the Dodgers from an endorsement standpoint than he will with the Padres. But it's also just showing him that we're willing to do every single thing that we can to try to get your talents. Mark Feinsand also had in his piece something that an executive told him about Roki Sasaki, and he said, there are a number of teams asking for international money, some that you would guess and some that you would not. Los Angeles and San Diego are certainly reaching out, but they aren't alone. Other teams are recognizing opportunities. So you guys know at this point, he was posted by the Chibalote Marines on December 9th, and we're getting close to that 45-day window ending. He has to make a decision no later than next Thursday. There was a tweet, a Japanese tweet saying that he was going to make his decision today and this and that. I'm kind of holding off on that kind of information. I'm waiting for the passing bomb right at the top to get that, because we know that at the end of the day, it's most likely where that information comes from. But another executive said if he was going to cost $300 million, he would still be a great get. But at the price it's going to cost, he'll be the best free agent acquisition since Shohei Ohtani. You've been watching this show for weeks. Who has been saying that this whole time? To me, that's where it's at. I mean, he literally could be just that. And Shohei's situation was very different. I mean, he came to the show in 2018. He was 23, signed with the Angels, made $2.3 million then, which is pennies compared to his value. And that's just the system, right? Players that are under 25 that haven't reached 6 years of service time in a foreign major league, they're subject to Major League Baseball's international amateur signing bonus pool rules. So there's a cap to what they can earn. And it kind of really, the bigger question, if you kind of zoom out, is, man, what are these players really worth if it was just an open market like that? So just got to reiterate one more time before we go to the next topic, because it's pretty much where we're at with Shohei, with Roki, is that probably won't spend a single day down at the minor league level. So is he really a prospect? He's under team control until 2030. Think about that. He won't reach arbitration until 2027. And one thing that I've heard as it relates to Roki Sasaki is that the Dodgers have the ability to extend him at some point when they deem to be right and be able to pay him and put talent around him, which is something that's very meaningful as well. And it's just interesting to watch this thing play out, because if you look at other teams around Major League Baseball right now, everyone out there is loading up, right? I mean, this is the time to add international talent. And right now, the Blue Jays, Dodgers, and Padres, they haven't signed any player on the international market for more than $10,000. They're trying to keep as much as they can. And the other 27 teams, they have averaged 14.6 international signings. So Padres, Dodgers, and Blue Jays, they're not adding anyone. Other teams out there have averaged a combined 14.6 signings. No team out there has signed less than 6. And that was just in the first day of the international signing period. So that's where we're at with Roki Sasaki. Why is it taking so long? I hear a narrative out there that, oh, this is a dog and pony show just because Joel Wolf, his agent, doesn't want to make it seem like it was always the Dodgers and that this is just a foregone conclusion. No, look, agents, they are very vested in trying to make sure you have good communication and great relationships with every team in Major League Baseball. So Joel Wolf realizes that even if Roki Sasaki signs with the Dodgers and is there for 6 years, if his career pans out like he hopes to, he's only 23 years old, that he'll be a free agent one day. And when he's a free agent one day, you want to make sure you're on good terms with teams around Major League Baseball. It's good business. Like I said, it'd be awesome if he just went live and it was a college football 5-star recruit and had the Dodgers hat, the Padres hat, and the Blue Jays hat, and then he put one on and that was it. But that's not how this thing is going to play out. But let me know down below in the comments section, what are your thoughts? Are you starting to get a little frustrated? I mean, I'm not. I mean, look, this is something that I expected. Joel Wolf told us he was probably going to be towards the end of the process, closer to the 23rd, when he was going to make his decision. I'm hoping it feels like a weekend decision. You know how I get those weekend home dugout lives with a signing? It feels like one of those.
And then we're all in the group chat like going crazy trying to like get everything up. But we do have a pretty cool update. Not necessarily anything too crazy, but Tyler Glass now, he was on foul territory. Shout out to John over there for sending it over to me. But he was on foul territory. They were asking him just his general thoughts on Roki Sasaki. He said he wasn't part of the meeting pitch that the Dodgers had with him, but he did get to hop on a phone call with Sasaki. And they have the same agent, so his agent just passed it over to Roki. He said he told him hello real quick, and he just kind of like, they were just talking. And he said that he told him like, oh, you just come to the Dodgers, and like real quick. And he said it was like a pretty fun call, but they asked him what his recruitment pitch to Sasaki would be. And he pretty much said that if his main goal is to become the best pitcher in baseball, that he should come over to the Dodgers because they'll be able to develop him the best. So
there you go. Yeah. And I remember when Glassnow was on this show last year and he was talking about his pitch to Yamamoto because they had the same agent. And look, Ohtani was someone who was trying to recruit Glassnow, and then Glassnow tried to recruit Yamamoto. And that's what's kind of happening with all these Dodgers players is like, hey, it's not, oh, I'm going to try to do a sales job. It's describe your experience as it went. And usually that is going to appeal to these players. I mean, the funny thing I think about the whole Yu Darvish thing is, hey, if you're the Dodgers, forget trying to trade for international bonus pool money. Try to trade for Yu Darvish. Right? If they had Yu Darvish in this rotation, this wouldn't even be a conversation. But I don't think anyone has really mentioned this. Is Yu Darvish, of course. I mean, he's a mentor, and that's the Kobai Senpai relationship, and that's definitely something that they value. There's no doubt about it. He's 38 though. How much longer is he going to be there? And one thing that we talked about on the show that I was told from a source was Yoshinobu Yamamoto is crucial in the Dodgers getting Roki Sasaki because Shohei Ohtani is the best player on the planet. He's an MVP hitter. He's got a lot going on. Does he have time to really have his arm around Roki the whole entire time? But still, I mean, Yu Darvish, I would ask you, so Roki, what do you want to do? I mean, you want to be the best pitcher in the world, right? You also want to win championships. You Darvish, you ever make it to the World Series? Oh, you did? What team was that with? The Dodgers. When you Darvish was, I mean, of course we know what happened. You had the Trastros banging trash cans, stealing signs and this and that. But I mean, you Darvish should you Darvish should recruit for the Dodgers. I mean, if I was Roki, hey, tell me about your time with the Dodgers.
Facts.
And that should only help their case. So yeah, of course, I mean, we try to dissect this in 50 different ways. And the truth of the matter is what I've been told is the Dodgers are confident and that they're almost operating in the hopes that they do get him. And coming up next, we're going to talk about the 26-man roster. Where would Roki Sasaki fit in this 26-man roster? Also, 3 players I think the Dodgers will still sign this offseason. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here to remind you that if you have not yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Dugout Live podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. So if you want to listen to the show in audio form, when you're driving to Dodger Stadium, when you're driving from Dodger Stadium, when you're commuting to work, wherever it is, you definitely want to lock into the podcast. We're going to start featuring some podcast exclusives, interviews. So definitely, even if you do watch the show daily on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Dugout Live podcast, wherever your podcast. So be sure to do that. It really supports the channel. And as always, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live. By the way, if you have not yet, get merched up for the new year. Go to gearup.la, the best Dodgers t-shirts in the game. You've got the new Teoscar Hernandez Run It Back t-shirt. You got the Teo smile on there. You've got the Gibby Meet Freddie, the Freddie Freeman t-shirt to celebrate hitting the first walk-off Grand Slam in World Series history. You got the Kiké Hernández We Don't Give a F t-shirt. You've got the awesome World Series trophy t-shirt. Definitely go get merched up. Go to gearup.la for all the best Dodgers t-shirts in the game. That is our official merch site. That's www.gearup.la. So we got some super chats. Appreciate that. This is from Ray Soto. $4.99 for the Roki watch. Look, I know this is what happens. I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, I'd rather be kind of in that mode where I'm like waiting for, oh, is this player going to sign or not? I mean, that rush versus kind of being like the Tampa Bay Rays, right? I mean, what are they waiting for? You know, so it's a good problem to have. Definitely a champagne problem. Ben Meza, you guys want Roki? We'll give you Roki. Dave Roberts probably. What? That's a bruh. I got some good bruh candidates. Someone sent me some. Sent me a Shohei Ohtani. Someone told me we should do the Shohei Ohtani when Miguel Rojas was telling him that they were going to pinch hit for him. You know, and he puts on his thing and he looks like, good one. Yeah, so that's a potential one. So, yeah, there's some options. Kelly Oshiro, interview with Glass Now, same agent. He talked briefly to Sasaki. Tyler, so this is what we talked about. Tyler said here at Sasaki, really likes Toronto, but he told him the Dodgers got it all in best development. Yeah, I mean, hey, Toronto, got to give them credit, man. I've been calling them the Toronto bridesmaids because they have finished second for a lot of free agents, but who knows? I mean, I'd be kind of wondering. I mean, you see Vladdy kind of taking pictures and being mentioned to be traded to the Mets. So something that I consider too. OCDO says, where's Roki? Has he made a decision? Daniel Davini, I heard Sasaki wants to be part of the Dodgers simply because he loves D-Mac. I like that. I give a comment of the show right here. You know what's funny? I will say, Roki, this was the very first show that had ever one mention of Roki Sasaki, and it wasn't even, it was from an interview that we did with Jose Mota in 2022. And I remember the comments were like, people were literally doing the gif of Conor McGregor where he says, who the F is that guy? When we brought up Roki Sasaki, everyone knows him now, right? Everyone knows him now, man. I can see it now.
Yeah. Mota just knows years ahead.
He in Japan, he is the man for sure. I'm telling you, the Roki of the Year shirts, get those made now.
Facts.
I mean, I shouldn't have said that, man. Someone good.
I know. Tony, edit that.
Clip that out, man. Someone's gonna make a bag off that. Tom O'Gorman, my son was born on the 2nd January. I named him Roki, so we better get him at this point. Okay, first of all, that's a comment of the show for sure. This guy just like pretty much manifesting Roki by naming his son Roki. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, player, if Roki doesn't come to LA, he's not looking to be a winner. That means he doesn't have that dog in him. That means he might not be the brightest crayon in the box. We don't need that kind of player. Okay, so couple thoughts on this. Here's what we're not going to do. And it's going to be tempting, but if he does sign with the Padres and Blue Jays is just kind of make it where it's, oh, this guy is trash, or I mean, he's a loser. And look, these are very complicated decisions. I will say one thing I've heard about Roki Sasaki is his relationship with the media in Japan got to a point where he didn't talk to the media for years. Think about how insane that is to think. So I do think that, you're with the Dodgers, Shohei and Yamamoto. There's a world where you're getting less media attention because those guys are getting a lot of attention. You are the team of Japan, or there's just so many Japanese media members there just by the numbers that, okay, you're all right. If I go to another organization, I'm not going to get as much media attention in a smaller market. So that I think is a factor for sure. And it's interesting what Glasnow did say about Toronto. I mean, that definitely is interesting to me. Daniel Martinez, Roki needs to hurry up and decide. I feel like it's between the Padres and Dodgers now, but I'm kind of annoyed with this delay. It doesn't, like I said, guys, he's going to make a decision when he's going to make his decision. But we'll talk to more Roki in the 7th innings. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you get past this conversation, right? Everyone wants to talk about it, man. We're playing the hits, man. But let's switch gears, because after they hopefully sign Roki Sasaki, the question is, what will be the next move that the Dodgers will make? And if you look at the Dodgers payroll, right now, basically where they stand is you're looking at a Dodgers payroll that right now, with the assumptions that the players in arbitration and the deal with Alex Vesia and kind of what they have in the works, that the Dodgers estimated CBT payroll for 2025 is currently sitting at $350.6 million. $350.6 million. Now, in 2024, their final payroll after everything was $353 million. That was the new Dodgers franchise record. It was actually the second highest in the history of Major League Baseball. The highest payroll ever, of course, is Stephen Cohen's Mets. Their payroll in 2023 was $374.6 million. And then for 2024, it's at $347.6 million. So they're spending a lot of money in New York. Just lose the Dodgers in the NLCS. But in 2024, the Dodgers, they were charged, because they were over the competitive balance tax for so many years, they paid over $103 million in competitive balance tax. That is the MLB record. So the first threshold in 2025 is $241 million, and then it goes up by $20 million in all the 3 tiers above that. The Dodgers right now, they're estimated to pay around $96 million in luxury tax. So every bit of salary they add, you're looking at it getting taxed at 110%. So all this is to say that at this point, I don't even think the Dodgers are pinching pennies or thinking, oh, let's not sign this guy because of how it's going to impact. They're already way over. They already are way over, and they don't have to worry about it because they're so invested in this team. Because you have an $8.25 billion TV deal, you lead the league in attendance, the revenue's there, you're making deep runs. Shohei Ohtani deferred 97% of his contract. Your top other superstars, Mookie and Freddie, have deferrals. And that doesn't impact the luxury tax, but it does impact kind of the finances of things and how they use that money to pay the players later on down the line. So, having said all that, I think there's 3 players that they'll end up signing after they hopefully get Roki Sasaki. The first one is the most obvious one. This is not something that's should surprise anyone, but that will be that Clayton Kershaw is back. And of course, guys, we are going to debut my new Clayton Kershaw button that we have from the championship parade, where Kershaw says, Dodger for life! Dodger for life! So we're going to be playing that throughout the show. Shout out to Antonio for that one. Dodger for life! So he will be a Dodger for life after he re-signs with this team. And just a little rewind on Clayton Kershaw in his 2024 season. It was his 17th year with the Dodgers. And his first start back, I asked him about that, and how special that was to him. And he basically said, yeah, it's special to me, but, I want an 18th year. I want to continue pitching for this organization. And the message to me from that was this guy still thinks that he can help a team win the championship. He still thinks he can compete at the highest level. And back after last season, the question was, when would he be back? He was dealing with the shoulder injury. He had the shoulder surgery, and he was expected to be back around the All-Star break. He ended up getting activated on July 25th, and at that point, he had not pitched past 4 innings in his 3 minor league starts. He was working on some stuff, trying to just get built up, and then he comes back. He started to look good. Honestly, he had the slider. The velocity was pretty consistent, around 90, 91. The command was there. You saw the curveball, even working in some changeup there. And the flashes were there. I mean, his 4-start back, he went 6 scoreless on August 18th. And 5 starts after returning, he posted a sub-3 ERA. In his first 5 starts back, he had a 2.63 ERA. The FIP was at 3. Really had one rough outing, but it was pretty surprising that he was able to come back after his first major surgery of his career and have that level of success so early on. Now, like I said, the bad starts were in there too. August 24th, gave 5 runs to the Rays. And then almost a week later against the Diamondbacks, you knew something was off. Dave Roberts came out there and took the ball after he had recorded just 3 outs and given up 3 runs. A lot of people felt like that was going to be his last appearance ever as a Dodger. Turned out it was a bone spur in his left big toe, and basically he wasn't able to push off. He could not push off the rubber. He couldn't figure it out, how to really play through that injury. For a guy that's played through back injuries and not being at 100%, this one he couldn't do it. And he was trying to. There were bullpen sessions where he went up to 80 pitches. If you remember, there were video shots of him resting one leg on a chair and throwing in the bullpen, trying to do everything in his power to get back. And at that point, the Dodgers had lost Tyler Glasnow. They had lost Gavin Stone. You needed as much pitching depth as you could, but unfortunately, they ruled him out for October. They ruled him out for the NLDS, and then, following the season, he had surgery. He had surgery on his left foot to repair the toe situation, but then also he had surgery on his knee to fix a meniscus tear that he had. So we don't know when he's going to be back in 2025. But before we talk about that, I think it's really important to really reiterate here. You guys know we're devout Christians, right? Believe in the Church of Christianity. We are not going to have that slander out there that I've seen saying the guy should retire. He's washed. We don't need Kersh back. The reason why they won was because Kersh wasn't there to choke in October. I've seen those. I've seen people saying that stuff. And to that, I say there were moments where he was still effective. As a whole, his numbers in 2024, he had a 4.50 ERA, a 4.43 expected ERA. Those aren't great. He made 7 starts, had 24 strikeouts and 9 walks in 30 innings of work. But like I said, the flashes were there. 6 scoreless against the Cardinals. You're seeing more ground ball outs. He was still efficient when he was right. So I still think he can help this team. And like Andrew Friedman said, you can never have enough starting pitching. And the fact that he's coming off surgeries, you hope that one thing Kershaw said after the year was that he doesn't want this surgery to go to waste. I mean, what's the point of undergoing surgery if you're not going to try to continue playing? So if he's at 100%, he could prove pivotal to this team if other guys go down. And the truth is, at that price, whatever they sign him for would be a big discount compared to, I mean, look what Verlander got with the Giants, right? Or other guys that are just open to all teams. Kershaw's coming back for the Dodgers on a contract that it's just a formality, right? It's not something that's going to break the bank. And another thing I want to mention too, after he declined that player option, people are like, oh, why did he do that? Because he wants to come back close to spring training. That way, he's not going to hurt the roster status. And then when the new year starts, spring training, guys like Emmett Sheehan and Gavin Stone and Brusdar Gratterall, Kyle Hurt, all these guys can go on the 60-day IL, and potentially Clayton Kershaw can as well. So he's coming back. I think if you're done with Kersh, you're going to like him when he gets that 3,000 strikeout, because he's just 32 strikeouts away from 3,000 strikeouts. He would be just the 20th pitcher in Major League Baseball to accomplish that feat, just the 4th left-hander in history to have 3,000 strikeouts. So it would be massive. And you know, it would be the happiest guy in the world if he re-signed. It would be Antonio. I mean, what do you say? Okay, seriously, what do you say to people out there? I mean, this is like a serious question. Like, there are people out there that I think that they're kind of in this new era Dodger baseball with Ohtani and Yamamoto, and they kind of forgot what Kersh did, literally putting this franchise on his back for so many years, saying, oh, like, he can retire, he's done. I mean, what are your kind of thoughts on that narrative?
I tell those people to suck a lemon, bro. Like, come on, man. Show some.
Wait a minute.
Bruh.
That's getting to bruh.
Dude, just go on YouTube, just type Clayton Kershaw 2014. That's all you need to know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, 2008, I still remember him against going to the Phillies, drinking Mountain Dew, going against the NLCS against the Phillies. Just so many years, so many iconic moments. Obviously, there's been the tragedies, but we've been there with him, and he's been there for us. And just like you said, Dodger for life, just that clip. Literally, Doug, when we were at Dodger Stadium during the ceremony, I was straight up tearing up.
He really was. He really was.
It was a real privilege to be there, and I mean, I'm just so excited. He's gonna get that 3,000 hit, and I'm gonna predict it's gonna be around September when the Orioles are in town, or when they're in Baltimore. I can't remember which one. And I think it's going to be Adley Rutschman. So it's going to be 3,000 strikeouts. Kershaw, the GOAT. He's going to be a 3-time champ, 2025. Can't wait, baby.
Yeah, no, Noel, you would have literally laughed. Like, literally, we're sitting up in the press box. I think it was his first time in the press box. And you look, I'll be honest with you. No one loves the Dodgers more than me. I mean, seriously, like, but I'm there to do a job, like, kind of thinking of like what we need, you know. And I look at this guy and I'm like, I'm seeing like the eyes get all watery. I'm like, bro, like, be a professional, Antonio, out there like crying. And but I actually respect it. I respected it. I mean, I respected the love for the dog. I'll never forget when we were at his rehab start, and he was skipping. He was literally he was
Got the
skipping.
crowd all hype for Kershaw's rehab start.
Yeah, no, there's a video out there where Antonio is looking at all the Dodgers fans with the camera, and Kershaw's gonna come out and like basically like literally there's like hundreds of people waiting for him, and he was like, make some noise for Kersh, and the whole crowd was like screaming and going crazy. Fortunately, we didn't have the audio going, so literally we have a video, just people going crazy, but no audio there. But
shout out Rancho Cucamonga, love you guys.
Shout out Rancho Cucamonga for sure. They definitely took care of us out there. And the truth of the matter is there's going to be a statue for Clayton Kershaw, and that's you got to treat your legends right. If I'm Roki Sasaki, one of the billion things I'm considering is how do you treat your players? How do you treat your legends? And Clayton Kershaw is a prime example for guys that are going to get down the line. This is how we treated Clayton Kershaw, right? Guys that were first ballot Hall of Famers, this is what we did to take care of them in their career. So he's the first guy they're going to re-sign. Remember, I tell you, there's going to be 3 guys after the Roki signing that they'll get, if they get Roki. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything. But first is Kersh. Second is Kiké. It has to be Kiké Hernández. And he was on social media yesterday. He posted on his Instagram story something with like a funny filter, right? With his eyes popping out and this and that. And that to me felt like a guy who's not taking a ton of meetings with other teams. That didn't look like a guy that was stressed about what other team was going to give him a contract. That looked like a guy that was just waiting patiently, knowing that he's going to be a Dodger. Look, throw out the regular season stats. What he does for you in the postseason, you just can't put a price on the field. He was the guy that hit the bomb against the Padres, against Yu Darvish, to get the scoring going in a very tight game against a Yu Darvish that had pitched very well against the Dodgers early in that series. He's the guy in Game 5 that comes through in a big way. The way, look, I'm telling you, man, I don't know what Aaron Judge saw, but he took his eyes off the ball, saw Kiké, he drops that ball, and then later in that inning, as he's rounding third base, I think he got in the vision of Anthony Volpe to kind of throw off to Jazz Chisholm. So, look, Dave Roberts and Mookie Betts said that when it comes to baseball IQ, Kiké might be the smartest player they've ever seen. I mean, think about that. Those two baseball minds, Hall of Famers, are saying about Kiké Hernández. So yeah, even though his regular season stats say he's a role player or a below average player, this is not what he brings in the postseason. Like I said, he is the Dodgers version of Derek Fisher, right? Derek Fisher ain't sniffing the Hall of Fame, right? But you remember point 4. You remember the shot against the Magic. You remember the big moments that he had and being so important to those Laker championship runs. So Kiké is going to be back 100%. I think that he could get starts at second base. I think that the versatility is certainly there, but with Tommy Edman in center field, and hopefully Andy Pages get another shot on this roster to see what he looks like in year 2, Kiké is going to be back. Because I guarantee you this, if for whatever reason Kiké Hernández is not back with the Dodgers, I guarantee you that if it's the NLDS next year and the Dodgers lose a close game where they're not having fun in the dugout, they're not getting those clutch hits, all the comments, Kiké would have got a base hit, Kiké would have provided spark, Kiké would have made that catch, Kiké this, Kiké that. He is the glue to this clubhouse, and he really brings it all together. So he'll be back. So that's the second guy. Kiké Hernández is going to be back. Question is, though, do you need Kiké Hernández and Chris Taylor? I think if we're being completely honest, and Chris Taylor was being judged solely on his production in recent seasons, I think the answer is no. I think the answer is no there. I look at this 26-man roster that I put together, and we'll, of course, do this on a super deep level at some point. But when you start putting these names down, you get to 26 pretty quick. Position player-wise, Shohei Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Smith, Muncy, Edman, Conforto, Rojas, Barnes. You already had 10. Hassan Kim, 11. So that's 2 more spots for Kiké Hernández, Chris Taylor, and Andy Pages. I personally think that you bring back Kiké Hernández, and Andy Pages is someone that has a lot of power potential. Ultimately, I think Chris Taylor's contract, he did take a team-friendly deal when he signed back in 2021. He's extremely popular in the clubhouse and in the community. It would be a tough call to move off of Chris Taylor, but there is some redundancy in the roster there. With Edman, he's the best of the bunch when it comes to playing Gold Glove level infield defense at second, above average defense in center field, can also play shortstop at an above average level. He's going nowhere. He just signed a $74 million extension. And Hassan Kim, what I was told was they didn't sign him not to play him. So it'll be interesting to see if they could unload Chris Taylor's contract and maybe go with some more roster flexibility with some of their younger players towards the end of that roster. But you got Rojas back too. You got guys that can play in the infield, and Kiké he has to be back. He has to be back. And then you flip to the pitcher side. So that's 14 players right there. So really, if you're going to have Chris Taylor back and have Kiké on the roster and have Hassan Kim, there's no room for Andy Pages. So do you start the season at the minor league level? Do you try to trade him? Some people forgot about the Michael Conforto signing. So that's 14. Then you go to the pitcher side. Glasnow, Snell, Yamamoto, Vesia, Trinan, Bonda, Brazier, Phillips, Kopech, Gonsolin, May, Tanner Scott, and Roki Sasaki. So that would fill up pretty quick. Right there. And that is on the assumption that you sign Roki and Tanner, who are your top 2 choices at the moment. Is that going to happen? Things have broken right for the Dodgers recently. Will that be the case? Will they take an L at some point? Maybe they will. But this is the ideal 26-man roster. To me, the ideal 26-man roster is the names we mentioned, where you have Pages, can find a way to potentially find a suitor for Chris Taylor, pay some of that money down, maybe get some prospects in return, maybe a reliever in return. Who knows if the Cardinals are willing to deal Ryan Helsley. And then Tanner Scott is the last guy. So the last guys to sign, you got Kersh, you got Kiké, and hopefully it is Tanner Scott. Now, we've talked a lot about Tanner Scott. We've already broken him down as a player, but you know what he is. Last 2 years, a 2.04 ERA, a 2.24 ERA plus, 31.3% strikeout rate. He has been dominant. He's been in the tier with Emmanuel Clase. The question is, will he get close to that 4-year, $80 million deal he's looking for? I personally don't think he will. I see him at hopefully 4 years, $68 million, something like that. I mean, MLB trade rumors early had him at 4 years, $56 million. So I don't think that he's going to be anywhere close to guys like Josh Hader and Edwin Diaz, who have the largest guarantees for relievers. But if Andrew Friedman really means what he said to us a couple weeks ago, and that is that he doesn't want to go out there and trade for guys at the deadline, then Tanner Scott has to be a name that you go with, because if you want a high leverage guy, you want to shorten that game, you want to have someone that won't face Shohei Ohtani, who he dominated. If you want to have an elite lefty that goes up against Juan Soto, Tanner Scott is certainly those guys. So I think those are the three guys they signed. I think it's Kiké, I think it's Kersh, and I'm hoping it is Tanner Scott. Tanner Scott's the one that I have the least amount of confidence with. I know there's mutual interest between those two. I'd be shocked to see if there's a team out there really willing to go up to what he wants. So I think the Dodgers are being patient with him and letting his market figure itself out. And hopefully by the end of the day, they're able to get it, because they wanted Devin Williams, didn't get him. Ryan Helsley, do you really make a deal with the Cardinals? That would be a really nice option. But if you don't want to give any prospects and you want to just use your financial muscle, Tanner Scott is that guy. Okay, so let me know down below in the comments. What are your thoughts? Do you want to see those three guys back? You guys can let me know next here on the 7th inning stretch, where we answer all of your questions about your boys in blue.
The 7th inning stretch.
Pika Peep, Kiké, the Dodgers version of Robert Ory. I like that. Be a home run. Just because, always room for Kiké, best baller. Give you a nice little let's go Dodgers. Jose Aguirre Kershaw is the GOAT and will be with us forever. Respect the Hall of Famer. Prone to thrill. Aloha D-Mag. Always here to support the great Dodger coverage you provide. Constantly go blue. Appreciate that. Give you a nice little charge for that. Claudia 11, where are we with Arenado? Yeah, the Arenado buzz has certainly died down. He's kind of the greatest player to never get traded to the Dodgers, and clearly they're committed to Max Muncy and figuring out these other roster spots, but we'll see if there's any change there. And he does have that no trade clause, so he has a lot of leverage if he wants to be moved and the Dodgers are interested in him. But Benito Camillo, do you think the TJ situations with Dodgers pitchers will scare Sasaki away from the Dodgers? I personally don't, because I think that his agent and they know that it's a league-wide problem and not something that is exclusive to the Dodgers. I've said here a couple different times that the reason why I think the Dodgers players, my theory, reason why I think the Dodgers pitchers have Tommy John surgeries and get injured more than others, at least how it feels or appears, is because they like guys with upside. And upside and high ceiling usually means high velocity and high spin rate. And those are the pitchers that tend to get injured. So I think it's the Dodgers' ability to acquire and have an eye for the best pitchers available. That's the reason why. Matt Vaith, I wish there was more talk of Luis Robert Jr. That's another option as well. I mean, if they definitely want a center fielder that's going to man that position and have Tommy Edman more as an everyday infielder, that would be an option. And he's under a very, very team-friendly contract. Jose Ayala, D-Mac, do you agree to trade Don Rushing? Would you trade him? If it came down to getting Roki Sasaki, sadly, yes. I mean, that's just, you're getting an ace. I mean, I actually don't even think that, I don't even think there's not one MLB executive that would say no to that. They wouldn't even think about that. That's not even a conversation. What are we talking about here? Roki Sasaki is worth $300 million, and you're getting it for less than $10 million. That wouldn't even be a conversation. But hopefully it won't come down to that. Dodger, Bonda, Vest, and I think too, Roki, it's like, hey, bro, like, you want talent around you, right? You don't want us to trade the talent that could help you down the line. And if Roki wants to win, that's something that he should factor in as well. So, Dodger, Bonda, Vesia, Scott would be the end game. Lefties, absolute. That would be amazing, man. That would be a lot of these. So what? Why did the Dodgers get Mile Conforto? Trade piece, maybe? No. I mean, he's going to be their starting left fielder. He played in one of the least hitter-friendly ballparks in the sport. Oracle and Seattle is in T-Mobile in Seattle. So look, 17 of his 20 home runs came on the road last year. I'm looking for big things for Michael Conforto. Is Jack Flaherty still in the mix? Cloudy 11. If he would sign a very team-friendly deal, I guess it's possible if they don't get Roki Sasaki. Maybe that's why he's holding out and not signing with the team. But the thing, like, we'll spend some more time on Flaherty tomorrow, but the fastball velocity kind of tailed down towards the end of the season, and now there's talk that he's willing to sign a shorter-term deal. A lot of the estimates for him were north of $100 million. So maybe teams do really want to see him have 2 good years. But then at the same token, if you're Jack, you're kind of losing one of your prime years. So I hope he gets a multi-year deal. I really do. Alex Renteria, D-Mac, how do you think Kershaw is handling not having his buddy Buehler on the team anymore? He knows it's a business. I mean, look, AJ Ellis got traded, right? I mean, he's seen these guys come and go. It comes with longevity. And Kershaw's happy, man. I mean, come on now. Look at this. He's going to be just fine. He's going to be just fine. And I think that those two will be friends for life. And he knows that Buehler made a decision that was best for him. Kershaw is still a beast and will be for another 3 years. CT3 going to the Phantom IL. Doug Slayton, he's repeating your comment. I like it. But yeah, guys, keep firing away down below. And I'll do a couple more. Ray Soto, Roki, pay is not a factor. Endorsement in 12 new Japanese partnerships will pay. Yeah, I definitely think that if it's endorsement money, the Dodgers, they're the best of the bunch that he could pick from. Now, real quick, definitely want to talk a little bit about Bob Uecker, who passed away at the age of 90. If you've seen the Major League movies, if you've been a fan of baseball, Bob Uecker was a true living legend, a true icon. He is someone that was absolutely beloved for all the right reasons. If you're a fan of this sport, you know Bob Uecker. If you're a fan of baseball movies, you know Bob Uecker for just a bit outside. The Major League movies would not be the Major League movies without Bob Uecker. And a couple of my favorite things about Bob Uecker are that he had 14 home runs in his big league career, and 3 of those 14 home runs were against Hall of Famers: Gaylord Perry, Sandy Koufax, and Ferguson Jenkins. Bob Uecker used to tell this story that every time he would see Sandy Koufax, he would apologize to him, and he would apologize to him and say, hey, I hope that my home run off you doesn't keep you out of the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. So awesome. And other thing too, everyone uses the phrase the Mendoza line for Mario Mendoza, who hit around 200 for his career. But fun fact, Mendoza hit 214. He hit 214. Bob Uecker finished with a 200 batting average throughout his career. So the real ones know it's not the Mendoza line, it is the Uecker line. But yeah, rest in peace, Bob Uecker, a true living legend. And of course, we've got the greatest broadcaster of all time behind me right there in Vince Scully, not just baseball, but for any sport. But Bob Uecker certainly is right up there for baseball broadcasters. And yeah, I'm going to go watch Major League tonight thinking of Bob Uecker. But for the walk-off today, we're going to talk a little bit about, let's do this for the walk-off today, about how the Dodgers team colors were going to get potentially changed when Fox bought the team. The late 90s, 2000s era.
The walk-off.
So this is pretty insane. So Hiroshi Yoshida, of course, who works for the Dodgers, he was on a show talking about the history of the Dodgers, talking about the Dodgers' history and their uniforms and everything that's related to just the team's aesthetic. And one thing he said was that when Fox purchased the team in 1997, that Fox was pushing to changing the Dodgers colors to purple. Yoshida said, I was told this by several people because I wasn't there at the time, not my role as I am now. But apparently when Fox brought the team to a new design level and purchased them in 1997, that they were interested in changing the Dodgers colors to purple. Back then, purple was a very hot color, and I've heard from several sources, it went pretty far up the chain. So that's one of the biggest bruhs in history, that Fox was trying to change the Dodgers colors to purple. The Lakers are already purple, okay? The Dodger blue is up there with the most iconic sports colors ever. It's Dodger blue, the silver and black, the purple and gold, Yankee pinstripes. This is the most insane thing to me. Just imagine, that's nightmare fuel. Imagine you're closing your eyes and you can see the Dodgers uniform and all this Dodger blue is purple. Look, maybe for a Lakers night, that's fine, but that one just makes me sick thinking of the Dodgers being purple. I mean, come on, Noel, think of that. How insane is this?
I'm at a loss for words right now. Like I literally can't imagine that ever. I can't imagine not seeing the blue, not seeing the beautiful whites, not seeing those road gray jerseys that have become so iconic over the years. You know, if they had to change the jersey to a different color, I can't imagine why purple. Like what was popping about purple in the 90s? That's what I'm trying to think about right now.
So purple was pretty big. I mean, the Rockies were new
Rain?
in the Purple Rain was the 80s, but great album by
bit
Prince.
after.
But yeah, I mean, purple, the Rockies chose purple. So the big trendy colors of the 90s was purple and teal. Purple and teal. So maybe they thought that, I mean, you had
You can't forget about Barney, dude.
Barney. Oh my goodness.
Barney was huge in the 90s.
Fun fact, I was on an episode of Barney as a kid.
We gotta find that.
Wait, hold on.
We gotta find that.
Way back in the day. Oh, yeah, let's not talk about that. But yeah, I mean, the kids used to make fun of me. Everyone's like, "Oh, we're watching X-Men, D-Mac," and I was watching like.
So were you an extra, or like did you have a line for?
I was one of the kids that was playing.
Oh damn!
Yeah,
Blue.
I'm at clean up.
We're gonna find
clean
that.
up.
We're gonna find
everybody
that clip somewhere.
everywhere. Clean up, clean. No, okay. But yeah, remember when they used to make fun of me for? Yeah, I mean, people used to make fun of me for being a Barney fan. I used to go to class and they would sing the theme from the Doug Show. You know, the do 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 do. I used to walk into this class and the whole class would sing that to me. I would get all red and embarrassed.
Sounds like they would bully you at a young age.
Yeah, you
That's
know,
pretty
they
messed
say,
up.
you know, like, where's Patty Mayonnaise, Quail Man? You know what I mean? Like, hey, yeah, man, you know. But that's gonna do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Thanks again, as always, for rocking with us guys here. We'll be back tomorrow. We got Dalton Rushing on the show. That'll be very exciting. And make sure you comment down below. What are your thoughts right now on Roki Sasaki? I know we've talked about him all week. It's big news. It's a big deal. And do you want to see those 3 guys signed by the Dodgers? So definitely let us know down below. My name is Doug McKain. Follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Follow Antonio and Noel and John. And remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue.